Hitting 80 is a massive triumph. But here is the brutal truth. At this age, the line between staying sharp and mobile versus becoming bedridden depends on 5 silent mistakes you might be making every single morning. The greatest fear of aging isn't death. It is the fear of becoming a burden to your children. Did you know that something as simple as a missed glass of water or a poorly managed prescription can strip away your independence in an instant? You've spent a lifetime looking after others. Don't let these hidden life shorteners force others to spend the rest of your years looking after you. If you want to ensure your 80s and 90s are defined by vitality, not a slow decline in a nursing home, you must fix these 5 things right now. Number 1. The invisible dehydration. There is a quiet change that happens as the years move forward. A change so subtle that many people never notice it until it begins to affect how they feel, how they think, and even how safely they move through their day. It is not loud. It does not demand attention. In fact, it often hides behind a simple thought. I'm just not that thirsty anymore. For many older adults across America, this becomes a daily pattern. You wake up, go about your routine, perhaps have a cup of coffee, maybe a small glass of water with a meal, and the rest of the day passes without much thought about hydration. It feels normal. It feels harmless. But inside the body, something very different is happening. As we age, the body's natural thirst signal becomes less reliable. The internal alarm that once reminded you to drink water grows quieter. Sometimes it goes almost silent. Your body may need water deeply, but you simply don't feel the urge to reach for a glass. And this is where the risk begins. When the body does not receive enough fluids, even over a short period of time, it starts to work harder to maintain balance. The kidneys, which already carry more responsibility with age, begin to strain. The urinary system becomes more vulnerable. Infections can develop more easily. And in older adults, these infections can sometimes lead to sudden confusion, moments where thinking feels foggy, unfamiliar, even frightening. There is also the matter of balance. Hydration plays a quiet but essential role in keeping the body steady. Without enough fluids, dizziness can appear. Not always strong, but just enough to make a step feel uncertain, a turn feel slower. And over time, even a small loss of balance can increase the risk of falls, something every older adult hopes to avoid. But here is the reassuring truth. This is a problem with a simple, gentle solution. You do not need to wait until you feel thirsty. In fact, it is better if you do not. Instead, think of hydration as a steady rhythm throughout your day. A few sips in the morning, a few more in the afternoon, a small glass in the evening. Nothing forced, nothing overwhelming, just consistent care. If plain water feels unappealing, that is perfectly okay. Warm herbal tea can be comforting, especially in the morning or before bed. Fresh foods like cucumber, watermelon, or oranges can quietly support your hydration as well. These small choices add up in powerful ways. And perhaps most importantly, this is not about strict rules. It is about respect. Respect for your body, respect for the life you have lived, and the years you are continuing to live with intention, dignity, and strength. Sometimes the most important changes are not dramatic. They are quiet. They are consistent. They are almost invisible, just like dehydration itself. But when you begin to pay attention, when you begin to care for your body in these small, steady ways, you may notice something beautiful, a clearer mind, a steadier step, a deeper sense of ease throughout your day. And it all begins with a simple sip of water. Number 2. Low protein wasting sarcopenia. There is a pattern that gently settles into daily life as people grow older. Meals become simpler, lighter, easier to prepare. A piece of toast in the morning, a cup of tea in the afternoon, perhaps a small, modest dinner. It feels comfortable, familiar, manageable. And yet hidden within this routine is a slow, almost invisible shift. The body begins to lose something essential, muscle, not all at once, not in a way that causes alarm, but little by little, strength fades. Movements that once felt automatic now require more effort. Standing up from a chair takes a moment longer. Climbing stairs feels heavier than it used to. Carrying groceries feels like more than it should. This condition has a name, sarcopenia, but most people never use that word. They simply describe it as, I'm not as strong as I used to be. What many do not realize is that this loss of strength is not just about aging. It is often about nutrition, more specifically protein. As the body ages, It becomes less efficient at using protein to maintain and rebuild muscle. This means that unlike in younger years, older adults actually need more protein relative to their body weight, not less. But here is where the quiet problem begins. Many older adults unintentionally shift toward what is sometimes called a tea and toast pattern. Light meals, soft foods, easy choices. While these meals feel gentle and convenient, they often lack the very nutrient that keeps the body strong and steady. And over time, the consequences begin to show. Muscle loss does not just affect appearance. It affects independence, the ability to rise from a chair without assistance, to catch yourself if you stumble, to move with confidence instead of hesitation. When strength declines too far, even a small misstep can lead to serious injury, especially in the hips, where recovery can be long and life-changing. But there is something deeply encouraging here. This is one of the few changes in aging that you can actively influence starting today. The solution is not complicated. It is not extreme. It is simply intentional. Think of each meal as an opportunity to support your strength. In the morning, adding eggs or a bowl of Greek yogurt can make a meaningful difference. At lunch, a portion of beans, chicken, or fish can quietly nourish your muscles. In the evening, a balanced plate with a clear source of protein helps your body recover and maintain what it still has. It does not have to be large portions. It does not have to feel overwhelming. What matters is consistency, a steady presence of protein, meal after meal, day after day. And something remarkable begins to happen. You may feel a bit more stable when you stand, a bit more confident when you walk. You may feel less hesitant in movements that previously felt uncertain. Strength begins to return. At the very least, it ceases to diminish. And with that strength comes something even more valuable: independence. The ability to continue living life on your own terms. To move freely, to care for yourself, to feel capable in your own body. Because occasionally, the difference between feeling fragile and feeling strong is not age. It is what you quietly choose to give your body, one meal at a time. Number 3, the social fade-out. There comes a time in life when the world grows a little quieter. Not because it has changed, but because the circle around you has slowly become smaller. Friends move away. Some are no longer as active. Family members become busy with their own responsibilities. And without even realizing it, the days begin to feel longer and the conversations fewer. At first, it may feel like peace, a slower rhythm, less noise. But over time, that quiet can turn into something heavier: loneliness. Not the kind that comes and goes, but the kind that lingers. The kind that sits quietly in the background of your day. What many people do not realize is that this feeling is not just emotional. It has real physical effects on the body. In fact, long-term, isolation has been shown to impact health in ways that are surprisingly serious, affecting the heart, the mind, and overall well-being. When social connection fades, the brain receives less stimulation. Conversations, laughter, shared moments. These are not just pleasant experiences. They are essential exercises for the mind. Each interaction helps the brain stay active, flexible, and engaged. Without that regular engagement, something subtle begins to happen. The mind becomes quieter, slower, less responsive. Thoughts may feel harder to organize. Memory may not feel as sharp. It is not sudden. It is not dramatic. But it is real. And the body feels it too. A lack of connection can place additional strain on the heart. It can increase stress levels in ways that are not always obvious. Over time, this quiet isolation can influence both mental clarity and physical health. But here is the hopeful truth. Connection does not have to be large or complicated to be meaningful. It can begin with something very simple. A place outside the home can serve as a starting point. It can be a familiar setting where you can interact with others, even in small ways. It might be a local community center, a weekly card game, a church group, or even a quiet coffee shop where faces become familiar over time. This is sometimes called a third place. Not home, not work, but somewhere in between where life is shared, even in the smallest moments. And if leaving home feels difficult, connection can still happen. A scheduled phone call with a family member, a regular check-in with a friend, even a short, consistent conversation can bring warmth back into the day. What matters is not the size of your social circle. It is the presence of connection. Because every conversation, every shared laugh, every moment of being seen and heard sends a signal to the brain. You are not alone. And when the brain receives that signal, it responds. It stays active. It stays engaged. It continues to build new pathways, to adapt, to stay alive in the fullest sense of the word. Sometimes one small step makes the difference between feeling like the world is fading and feeling like you are still a part of it, reaching out, or allowing someone to reach in. And in that simple exchange, something powerful returns, a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning, a sense that your story is still unfolding. Number 4, medication overload, polypharmacy. There is a moment many older adults quietly recognize, a moment that often comes without warning. You look at your daily routine, and there it is. A small collection of bottles neatly lined up. Morning pills, afternoon doses, evening tablets. Each was prescribed with care and meant to help. And yet, over time, the number begins to grow. A medication for blood pressure, another for sleep, something for pain, something for digestion. This was added years ago and has never been revisited. Before long, it is not unusual for someone in their later years to be taking 5, 10, sometimes even more different medications each day, prescribed by different doctors for different reasons. They are prescribed at different stages of life. Individually, each medication may make sense, but together they can create a quiet and often overlooked burden. The body, especially in older age, processes medications differently. What once felt manageable can now become more complex. And when multiple medications interact, the effects are not always obvious. Occasionally, the signs are subtle. The patient may experience a slightly increased level of fatigue compared to normal, a sense of lightheadedness when standing, moments of confusion that seem to come and go, perhaps a feeling that the mind is not as clear or that the body is not as steady. It is easy to assume this is just part of getting older, but in many cases it is not. It may simply be the body responding to a combination of medications that no longer work well together. Certain drug interactions can affect blood pressure, causing it to drop more than expected. Others can influence thinking and memory, creating symptoms that resemble cognitive decline. Some combinations may even place stress on internal systems in ways that are not immediately felt but gradually take a toll. And this is where awareness becomes powerful, because unlike many aspects of aging, this is something that can be reviewed, adjusted, and improved. There is a simple, practical step that can make a meaningful difference. It is called a brown bag review. The idea is straightforward. Gather every medication you take, prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, vitamins, and supplements. Place them all in a single bag. Then bring that bag to your primary doctor or a trusted pharmacist and ask 2 simple questions. Do I still need this? And is this working safely with everything else I take? These questions may seem small, but they open the door to clarity. They allow a professional to look at the full picture, not just individual pieces. Sometimes a medication can be reduced. Sometimes it can be replaced. Sometimes it may no longer be necessary at all. And with each thoughtful adjustment, the body often responds. Energy may feel steadier. Thinking may feel clearer. Balance may improve. That quiet, heavy feeling may begin to lift. This is not about removing care. It is about refining it. Because true care is not measured by how many medications you take, but by how well they support your life. And sometimes the path to feeling more like yourself again begins, not with adding something new, but with gently letting something go. Number 5, the fear of falling. There is a quiet fear that begins to settle into the mind as the years go by. Not loud, not always spoken, but deeply felt. The fear of losing balance, the fear of one wrong step, the fear of falling. And because that fear feels so real, many people respond in the most natural way they can think of. They move less. They walk more carefully. They avoid certain activities. They spend more time sitting, resting, staying where it feels safe. At first, this seems like a wise decision, a way to protect the body from harm. But over time, something unexpected begins to happen. The body, designed to move, begins to lose its ability to do so with confidence. Muscles that support balance grow weaker. The joints become stiffer. The nervous system, which relies on movement to stay sharp and responsive, becomes slower to react. What once felt stable begins to feel uncertain. And here lies the quiet irony. The effort to avoid falling can actually increase the risk of falling. Because movement is not the enemy. Movement is medicine. Each step you take, each time you stand, Each stretch you allow your body to experience. These are signals. Signals that tell your body to stay ready, to stay strong, to stay coordinated. Without those signals, the body slowly forgets. But here is the encouraging truth. You do not need intense exercise. You do not need long routines or complicated programs. What your body needs is simple, consistent movement, the kind that fits gently into your day. It can begin with something as small as standing near a kitchen counter, placing your hand lightly for support, and lifting one foot off the ground for a few seconds, then switching sides. This simple act helps your body remember how to balance. Or sitting in a sturdy chair and slowly standing up, then sitting back down again. Repeating this movement builds strength where it matters most, in the muscles that help you rise, walk, and stay steady. These are not just exercises. They are acts of preservation. They are quiet ways of telling your body, stay with me, stay strong. And as you continue, day by day, something begins to return. A sense of control, a sense of trust in your own movement, a feeling that your body is still capable, still responsive, still yours. Because safety does not come from avoiding movement. It comes from maintaining it. And when you choose to move, even in small ways, you are not just protecting yourself from risk. You are strengthening your independence. You are supporting your heart, your circulation, and your overall vitality. You are choosing to live not cautiously, but consciously. The bottom line, living well beyond 80 is not simply a matter of chance. It is a matter of care. Gentle, consistent care. When you stay hydrated, when you nourish your muscles with the right foods, when you remain connected to others, when you take time to review what you put into your body, and when you continue to move with intention, you are doing something powerful. You are not just adding more time to your life. You are adding more life to your time. And that is a choice that remains in your hands every single day. Growing older is inevitable, but becoming frail is a choice. You now have the checklist to protect your independence and keep your vitality. Remember, your family doesn't just want you around. They want you healthy, sharp, and present. If this video spoke to you, hit that like button so YouTube can share this with other seniors who need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more longevity secrets. I want to hear from you in the comments. Which one of these 5 habits are you going to fix first? But fixing these 5 things is just the start. If you want to know the specific foods that reverse muscle loss after 80, click this video right here. I'll see you there.